Welcome to this week's episode of ADH Tea with me, Donna, tea pioneer in the north of Scotland.
And me, Sarah, Weenie Mama, intuitive empowerment coach, speaker, author, and disabled mom of 3.5 kids.
The information shared in this podcast is lived experience and personal opinion. It does not constitute nor replace medical advice. ADHT, the podcast, are in no way legally responsible for any actions taken by anyone as a result of listening. The views expressed by any guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Sarah or Donna. Join us today for a Just the Sip episode, a little bit digging into why I enjoy tea and why tea is now non-negotiable for Sarah. Enjoy. If you remember, I was saying to you about my friend, and we ended up talking about how coaches churn out copies of
Yes.
themselves.
Oh, yeah.
The woman that she was talking about, her book, the first, like, it gives you exercises. And I mean, you can actually just binge read the whole book. But I'm like, right, I'm going to sit down and do the exercises. And the first one, in fact, I took a photo. It's on my Kindle, but I took a photo of my Kindle. So I'll send you the 2 pages that I took a photo of. But yeah, she talks about, you need to make this, you need to make your life work for you. And the first thing is, it doesn't look at your ideal client. It doesn't look like anything. You sit down and look at your ideal day.
Yeah.
And then you work towards that rather than anything else, which is amazing because I've never really thought about it before.
I know, exactly. And it's almost like, what do you want first versus starting with your client and working back to yourself, putting yourself first and actually then going, this is what I need in a client to make my day work for me. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I know. I love
Yeah.
that approach. It's really good.
Yeah. And it's really interesting in the way that she actually does it. So the next one, hang on a minute, there's a question at the bottom. So there's a couple of things that you go through, and then she's kind of got like prompt questions. And then it says, the next step is to break down this dream to understand what's really going on behind your answers. What 5 themes call to you most strongly in this? And now she does actually encourage people to draw things. She encourages people to write things, whatever comes naturally to you.
Mhm.
Um, so you pick out 5 themes, and then what is really exciting to you about your dream. And then she also says, now get in the habit of asking, why am I really attracted to this?
Mhm.
Everything, you pick it down even further and say, why? What is the core of this?
Yeah,
Why do I want to do this? And the idea that I think is to actually find out how you want to connect with people,
love that. Love that.
which is really, really, really interesting.
Yeah, I really love that. And yeah, it's like when Karen asked me what's my goal for the next 5 years or goals, like most of my surface level answers were like what's socially acceptable for someone of my age or what's best for my kids or what, and it's not really what I want. It's like you're just churning out these stock answers
Hmm.
and then they're not exciting. They're not inspiring. They don't. It's just what we've been conditioned to
Hmm.
believe that we want, and it's not really what we want. It's not. So the why is so important. Like,
Hmm. Yep. And you know what so my last thing here, so is why am I really attracted to this idea? I won't bother with you all the other stuff, but the core that I've got down to so far is so community, like-minded people coming together to share an appreciated love of tea, and to actually kind of share ideas over tea, and time to pause away and take time out from the busy world that we live in, essentially. So time to pause to connect personally with others on the same level.
love that. Yeah. And I wonder as well, and again, it's just me thinking and posing a thing. I wonder, is your desire, your strong desire to take time out and pause, is that because not only is your life really busy and society is really busy, but your brain is really busy as well?
Possibly.
And when you're like, when you're having tea, you're just having tea. You're
Hmm.
just focusing on the tea. You're focusing on the taste. You're focusing on the ritual of making it. You do it properly according to what that tea needs to be its best, and you're focused solely on the tea. Is that
Hmm.
your way of like quietening your mind and being
Hmm.
just taking a breath,
Yep.
which would make total sense why you treat it with such reverence and like why it's so important and non-negotiable to you. That makes so much sense. And then to be able to give, I don't know if it's just me, but I was sitting the other day thinking about this, and majority of the people who are really important to me and really close to me in my life and who I really value are neurodivergent, like the majority of them. And I'm like, is it a case where we all just gravitate towards each other?
Mm.
Or is it a case where everyone's brains are just so busy and like just, I don't know what it is, but
I
it
think
seems like there's more and more need for that. Just take a breath and
I
just,
think that we do gravitate towards each other, definitely.
mm,
But with that, there's also a lot more like unmasking. It's less seen as you're going to essentially be thrown out of society. I'm being a little bit extravagant here. But you mean it's less ostracizing
yeah.
to be ostracized, if you actually unmask or you actually do speak what you actually feel.
Hmm.
So
True.
I think that it's always been like this. It's just getting okay to actually,
More acceptable.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But definitely, and I'd never made that connection like between the tea, because even for me, like it's now my nighttime tea is like a non-negotiable part of like a non-negotiable, like in the same way as I said about brushing my teeth, like that nighttime cup of tea with Danny is like come hell or high water, that's happening, does not matter. And it probably is that, like, because if I don't do that and quiet my brain and essentially get everything out that I need to say to him, I won't sleep. So
Okay.
it probably is that as well. Some
Mm.
on a similar vibe, but not yours is more creative, I guess. But
Mm.
it's yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah,
And with that, I think we have a Just a Sip episode.
we probably do actually. We probably do.
If you would love to share any takeaways with us, we'd love to hear from you. You can find us on threads at ADHT the podcast. Tag us if you like. And you can also email us on ADHT the podcast at gmail.com.